Politics is, of course, a hot topic. And even though, as the saying goes, we should never discuss politics or religion at the dinner table, we still do at the table, online, and at work. So how do we skillfully manage these touchy conversations without losing our minds? Richard Burke is a conflict resolution expert with JAMS Pathways. He's here to help us out. Thank you so much for being here. So can't we just avoid it at all?
Well, you can say that, but we watch news stories and people want to report about things. And, there's a big difference between just talking about a fact and having it turn into political speech. So I think that you have to establish clear boundaries. We know that free speech is an important right, but we don't get to shout fire in a crowded theater. And unless you work in a think tank or for a political campaign, probably the mission of your organization has very little to do with politics. And so an organization can create clear boundaries and rules around what is permitted and not permitted to be talking about at work.
And not just what we say, but also what we're wearing. It's not just verbal, right?
Absolutely. Speech can be verbal, but can also be a T-shirt or a mug or a hat or a pin. And so, I think, again, establishing really clear boundaries at work and making sure that you walk your talk. If you are a supervisor, you need to model the behavior you want your colleagues and supervisees to emulate. So it's going to be an important thing to recognize that speech takes many forms.
What if you've gotten into a situation at work where it's downright uncomfortable or ugly and the manager's involved, but nothing seems to be resolved?
Well, one of the things that I've noticed over the course of my many decades in conflict resolution is that when people are promoted from off the line to becoming a manager, they really need to stop and learn a little bit more about conflict resolution. So, borrowing the skills of a mediator, learning to navigate difficult conversations. There's a wealth of information and education out there available for new managers, and I think that they would be well served to get that education themselves and to make sure as many people around them are conflict resolvers. And that said, when things get particularly thorny, you can always call in a conflict resolution professional. The organization that I work for intervenes in a lot of organizations where things have gotten a little bit out of hand. Some people say, it's a sign of weakness to have to call in somebody who's a professional, but in fact, you call in a CPA to do your taxes. You go to a medical professional or a surgeon when things get rough medically. So it's really a sign of wisdom and intelligence and bravery to call in a conflict resolution professional when things get a little bit over your head.
All right, Richard Burke, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dustin. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. Thank you.